If you don't know what pho is, you'll find out. Let's do this. Ingredients you're going to need are going to be like a sirloin or flank steak will work too. You're going to want to use, you're going to have green onions, red onions, cilantro, some basil, which by the way, look at this little basil plant. It's like $3. It's pretty good. You're going to want to use, you're going to have a little bit of soy sauce, sesame oil, sriracha, lime juice, star anise, not anise, not anise, star anise, cinnamon, and whatever other garnishes you want to put on top. Oh yes, rice noodles. We'll get to that later. It'd be also good to mention the beef broth that you're going to need because you can't have soup without broth. So to begin, we'll start boiling down the broth to get that up nice and hot, and then we'll start prepping everything else. So we'll do the we'll get the beef broth started first. Spray that shit in there. It actually helps. Put a little hole in the bottle. Makes it go faster. Alright, let's start cutting stuff. Start with the green onions. You want to get the ends off and the white ends. You just want to use the green. Rinse it. And now set it aside. Cilantro. Break off the stems. I know y'all know about breaking the stems off. Let's give it a little chop. You don't really need to cut the basil up. I can just go in whole. And red onions. Cut the nasty little ends off. Gets hard and gross. And just make slices. So what we're going to do is you're going to take some of this star anise and we're going to throw 2 of them into the soup broth. Just 2. They have kind of a licoricey flavor, so that'll do with that. So this is about $9 for this stupid little thing. And then, yeah, so 2 is all you need. That'll last you probably forever. Now we'll cut the meat. So we're using sirloins. These are about $7, so it's cheaper than going to a restaurant. That's what you're looking for. And it's pretty easy. Alright, so the way you're going to cut this is against the grain. Across the grain, I should say. Makes the meat more tender, and you want to do like thin little slices. So just kind of like at an angle. Get yourself a little slice like that. I'm going to put it in the broth because it's thicker than it normally would be. If you go to a restaurant, it's going to be super thin, and it's usually served raw. But I'm just going to put it in the broth, and that way it can cook itself. But I'll wait until it's almost finished to do that, so it doesn't cook the meat too much. Also, if you cut at an angle, it makes it even thinner. Thin little strips. Also, I'll have a pretty sharp knife. I sharpened mine. What the grain of the meat is, in case you're wondering, because if nobody's ever showed you, you might not know. So let's do that right now. So basically, when you look at the meat, you look at it this way. It's kind of hard to see. But the grain of the meat kind of goes like this way. And if you cut with the grain, you'd be cutting this way, and that's not going to help it out. If you cut it across the grain like this, it actually makes it tender by breaking up the fibers. That's just what I've been told, but it seems to work, so that's what we're doing. So now that you got your meat all nice and cut up, we'll get back to those noodles that we were talking about earlier. So I had them soaking. You want to soak them for about 10 to 15 minutes or so in cold water, and then after that time, what you're gonna do is grab your strainer and just strain them out like so. Now, don't need to rinse them or anything like that. Just fill the pot up with fresh water, and then we'll boil that water, and we'll boil the noodles for like another, I don't know, I think like 45 seconds or something like that. In the meantime, I threw a little bit of cinnamon in the broth, because cinnamon's one of the ingredients. You're supposed to use cinnamon sticks, but I didn't have cinnamon sticks, so I used ground cinnamon, which isn't going to hurt anything. I just used a couple of them instead. So, that worked. If you're wondering, where did the soup come from? Well, apparently in Vietnam, they had these dudes walking around with sticks on their shoulders with cabinets full of soup on them. From what I can find, it looks like it started back around 1910 or so, maybe a little bit before that. So, a little bit of insight into the history of the soup. Nothing too crazy, but, you know, it's cool to know. It's actually about to come to a boil, so I'm going to actually just lower that a little bit because it's going to still boil either way. So I'll just put it on medium heat for now. Alright, and, yeah, now we just wait some more. This soup's pretty easy to make. It's seriously just beef broth. Throw the couple ingredients inside the broth, and then you wait. It's more waiting than it is anything, and it's like super cheap. I think total, let's see, like the noodles were like $2. Steak was $7. The most expensive thing was the stupid spice that I had to buy. Well, I didn't really have to buy it, but I did anyways for your entertainment. And then, you know, like garnishes and stuff like that. I mean, green onions are cheap, maybe a couple bucks. Cilantro, again, a couple bucks. 1 onion. That basil plant, that plant has been up there for like 3 months now. I think it was like $3, and it just keeps producing more and more. So that's actually pretty cool, you know. And then it's like whatever else you want to add to it. I mean, sesame oil, that's about $4 or so. Soy sauce, like maybe $1.50 or something. And then sriracha, so what, depending on the size you want, you know, $1.50 to $2. So, and then, you know, I don't know how much this crap is, but fuck it. One-handed. This water, it's almost there. I was gonna add the meat later, and then I was just thinking about it. What I meant by that is I'll probably throw that in maybe like a minute before we serve it, because it's really thin and it'll cook fast. You don't want it to be like overcooked, or it'll be really tough. Unless you cook it for like hours and then it'll get soft again, but in the amount of time that we're cooking, it would just end up getting tough, I think. It's time! Alright, now we wait. Let that boil for like probably a minute or so just to get it extra tender. Like that. Alright, I'll give it a little stir action. Look at that, beef's already cooking. That pretty much tells you how fast this beef's gonna cook. So, that's that. And, word of the wise, always taste your broth. It's broth. Tastes good. Noodles are done. Let those boil for a minute. They should just be like really soft, and they should just feel like noodles basically. When you take them out of the strainer, they're still going to be like kind of hard, so you'll understand what, if you decide to make this, you'll understand. And went ahead and did a little bit of totaling, and first time you make this, if you don't have any of the ingredients at all, it'll cost you probably like around $30 or so. But I mean, if you have like the sriracha and stuff like that, it's going to be obviously, you know, give or take or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like $30 isn't too bad though. I'm going to go ahead and just get a little bit of the noodles out of here. Get your bowl over there. Get a little bit of noodles, like so. Alright, it's probably about good. And then you're going to do some broth. Sorry, I'm going to switch this. Make sure you get some beef in there. Make a big mess. Add your toppings. Do some red onions, a little bit of cilantro, lots of basil, and some green onions. And then you can always add, this is an option, a little bit of sesame oil, a little bit of sriracha. That's it. Oh, lime juice. Don't want to forget. that's it. Now you have it. Really easy. Took me about 20 minutes or so. Now I have myself some homemade pho. That's it. Till next time. There you have it. Now you know how to make pho. Hope you had fun. No, I did. Until next time.